Sasig Ache Nimke Oi Doi Doi Oi Ben Doi Doi Yigalani Mishaer Besuroi Memishpachta Yigalani. Anyone that was sold to a goy, any Yid that was sold to a goy, so it's not slavery like all slavery that you can't get out of there. If you have the minute you can, someone can redemption, you can get out of there. So there's a seder how to get him out. It's the first level, second level, and ben dod. If there's a dod and a ben dod, so the dod comes before, the uncle comes before, then the cousin. She'er besur, then other mishpucha. Or he sigu yudoi, or he himself got money. So the question is, he has to be the first one, not the best one. They also ask, where's the father? If he has an uncle, he also has a father. Or I hope we get to the explanation, but need to finish over. That we'll talk about the last part. Yiguleni means a person has to want to get out of there. If an uncle will help him, and someone's going to help him, but he doesn't want to get out of there, it's just a waste of helping him, because as we call it these days, he'll become codependent, we call it. After Vites is tluti. He'll always come back. No, you're not helping him now. That means helping a person is to get him going. Then you helped him. But if a person you didn't get him going, and you only helped him, and he's becoming even more tluti, so the Torah emphasizes you have to get him. At the end of the day, his siga yuda, the hirshashel zachnemen. You should start taking himself. What should you start taking of himself? The answer is, how does a person get to such a matzah? Because he doesn't have a father. So he doesn't have a father. So a father, that means the koyach that a person has with himself, which is called abba, which is called chokhmah, which is called his kesher with the Ribbono Shel Olam. The highest part of a person within himself, we know a person is, you see a person, the outside of the chetzonis of a person is set up of esses spheres. Esses spheres starts from malchus all the way up to moichen, which is das, which is bin, which is chokhmah. And chokhmah is me'ayin timut. So that means there's always a yid that Pirutz calls in Parshas Vaychi. Balatine uses a lot. Chelik elekai, he adds on the word mamish. That means a person, if he starts recognizing that he has a father, he would have never come to this matzah that he came to. The reason why he comes to this matzah that he came to, because he didn't have a father. That means if he would have had a father, he would have never got into this matzah that he's into. Rashi says this week, so I was talking about the bushes. So those days, there were a lot of people in there that they just put him in and didn't let him out. That means these days it's already more or less who belongs there, doesn't belong there. They get him out the minute they can get him out, and it's much more sophisticated, or much more the program settled as that. But he used to go in there and take out people. One of the things I use it is something that's called people that are behavior. We call it borderline. They call it these days. And there's no way how to help these people. But the borderline is actually they're all busy with themselves and don't see anyone else or whatever it is. So actually, these people just can't get into society because they bump into too many people on the way. So what the Busha did, all it does is the boundaries are very, very narrow. So the boundaries were a little broader. These days you come into shul on Shabbos, everyone has to go the same. Bushi were able to come in with green pants and I don't want to scare you, but there were people there with, 1 week with pace, 1 week without pace, out of it. So they had a certain society that they found themselves there. That means, but he was talking to them and giving them חיזוק, and there are a lot of people out there. There's one of the biggest mashpim, without saying names, which he was there, and Busha took him out. We'll go outside, and I'll tell you who it is if you want to know. And Busha took him out, and he's back to himself these days. And that means in those days, Busha was actually the Yuchat Shabiyachida, that he was able to recognize, to see a person that doesn't belong there, and just, but he had the koiches to bring him in, to attach him back to the Father, that which is within him, so he has back that dignity, and he finds his way, fights his way out. We started off with a Rasha. This week we're in Parshas Vaychi. Even Lama Nistam Parshas Vaychi. Yeah, why start off right away? The first Rasha called Parshas Vaychi. There's a stima. What does a stima mean? That means Vaychi and Vayigash are usually two parshas are separated. These two parshas are together. If you look into the Sefat, there is no hafsuka. The Rasha Lama Parshas Istima lefi shekiven shenifta Yankov Avini nistimi aneim velivim shayesum etzuras achilu shestil leshabdom bikish Yankov legalas hakeis venistam imena. So as Shasemis goes in, it says bikish Yankov legalas is hakeis. What he wanted to tell us that in 2018 or Tushin and Ches, Mashiach will come, that's what he wanted to tell us. What favor would he do us if in those days, back all the way, a few thousand years ago, tell us that we still have to wait another 3,000 years to go? He wouldn't do any favor at all. And Nistimi Aneim Velibam. Niste Aneim Velibam, they all asked the Kasha that the Shiva only started Kol's man, they shifted Kol around. There was no physical Shibud. But the answer is Yankiv is Midas Emes, says the Sfas Emes. It says the difference between Golus and Geula is a Aleph, that's Alifa Shel Olam. A person could be in a certain stage of Golus, physically, and not at home, wherever it is, but he doesn't feel it, as we were talking about Yosef Tzadik last time, if I'm not mistaken. He was in jail. He was hated by his brothers, and had his nisyonis all along. And last week by the Parsha, these days I think Yosef Tzadik would have to use an 8-9 therapist. He was abused physically, verbally, all the abuses was kanazan. He was natush. I don't have the words here, but abandoned, and all kinds. At the end of the day, when he meets his brothers, he tells them, "Al te'otzvi, al yiche." He's giving them therapy, and the things to go around all the way different. And secondly, what is going on? If I think a therapist will see such a person going through such things, he says, "No, it's okay, everything's fine, and everything's wonderful." And there's something wrong with him. The man is spaced out. How did Yosef Tzadik live it with such a ruhigkeit that he's even able to give therapy to the other, to run a whole state and a whole world, and the biggest person, and keep us on the ball after going through such terrible things? The answer is, as we said, this Vasem, as Bush used to say, how to take up a thing. A person has a bchir, how to explain what he goes through. We can be both in a car, in a traffic, and one person is nervous and he's all there's another person to be the happiest person that can be. So we see the same people, the same scenario, the same thing. One can take it in a nervous way, and one can take it in a happy way. What is the difference? The difference is, the Bush used to call it, it's a question if you take it as a metzius, or you take it as a sima. If you take it as a metzius, which is called a fact, that you're in a traffic, and you have a few facts that if you're in a traffic, you have an appointment, and you have to make it back, and you have 5 things that are clashing together, and so you go total loss. You just you get lost. But if I call it as a sibbe, sibbe means there is a soive v'sana sibbe. There's somebody turning the Balichva calls it agulos, is something round. That's the whole thing that the Baruch Hu runs the world is interacted one with the other, with the third, and it all has a connection. That means a person does whatever he can, and then he knows whatever he's going to be doing will be to the Rebbeinu. This will be the Yutzat from the Pittsburgh Rabbi this week. He used to say that he once got into a taxi in Pittsburgh, and he had his driver. So one day he sees his driver comes with the car, and he has another steering wheel. So he says, "What's this steering wheel for?" So he says, "I have a hyperactive child. We have institutions for him till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. My wife can't keep him at home, so she puts him into the car. Well, in the car he starts jumping on me and slapping the steering wheel, and it's mamish danger. So I decided to put him in a steering wheel, and he sits and is driving, and I give him pedals and brakes, and he's busy." And so the Pittsburgh Rabbi says, "Aha, you understood me, no? Question? You can ask a question. I like a Hege mit a Gas, mit a Brakes von Kind, and then das Kind gewinnt still." So the Pittsburgh Rabbi said that now I understand what the Rebbeinu is doing with us. He gives us a steering wheel, he gives us brakes, he gives us gas, but he does the driving. That means yes, hyperactive children that have to do something. So go ahead and do something. That's called I live with Sibbis. This one person says, "Okay, I'm not going to do anything." So we talk. I think we spoke about it in the past. The chacham is always to find where the mitzvah, middle road of doing, but not get obsessive. Doing, not getting alcoholic. Doing, not overdoing it. That means I should be in control of what I'm doing and control my mind that I'm not doing. But once I go overboard and I'm doing too much already, so then I can use my mind because I'm being controlled already. This is, I hope with the time we'll talk about it. You need more, as I call it, shimish maasi. Every time you'll ask the Ashikoil and it'll tell you where the limits are. That a person himself cannot see the limits if he's overdoing it or he's not doing enough. That means the two people are in the car in the traffic. If I take it that I'm the driver, I run the whole thing. So I don't know. I start calling and people don't answer. There's no spell. I all get nervous. But the person that knows, I drive, but at the end of the day, Rבינו has to drive it, and he knows whatever that Baruch Hu brought it to him, as we said before, and he gives him the koiches. And there's something that he has to learn here, which he wouldn't have learned it. So he's just the happiest person that can be. There's a medrash that says that on third day, the third day started the whole botanical, the whole growth, and the trees came out, the grass, and also the minerals. And the Medrash says that the trees saw that Baruch Hu created iron, and from the iron you're going to make a hack, and the hacks will cut off the trees, the axe will cut off the trees. So they started trembling, what's going to be here? So Rבינו tells the tree, an axe needs a handle from wood. If you're not going to give him the handle, he won't be able to cut you off. That means I can be in a matziv, people abuse me, I can be in a matziv of a traffic, I can be in a matziv whatever it is, but if I don't give that hack the handle, then it won't be able to take off my head. That means even though I'm in a certain matziv that is not so gishmak, as we call it, but it's up to me how to take that matziv and how to learn it up. That matziv. That was the shift they call. We find last week in the Parsha It says, Loi atem machartem oisi, kelekim shluchani. It should have said, Loi atem machartem, elekim macharoti. Not you sold me, Rebbeinu Shalom sold me. In the meantime, it says, Loi atem machartem, navuz, kelekim shluchani. Why does it say, Loi atem machartem, akelekim macharotanu? You can take a look in the Pusik to see if it's okay. That's what Parshas Vaychi, yeah? Near Atem Alte Otzvi. He gave him therapy. Al Yicha Be'einechem. Kimachartem Oisihani. Kilemichyu Shlachani. He should have said, Lord, not you sold me, nor HaKadosh Baruch Hu sold me. Was lemichyu Shlachani. The Ari says, a person comes down in this world, they give him a pilot goes on a flight, he gets a flight check, if you know what that means. He gets a whole, his long papers, and he has the direction where he's going and what he has to take along and how many people and how many this and that, and that's, he sits there an hour and Tuesday of the sugya, and he signs and he goes out on his way. So before we send us down there, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a flight check. He tells you exactly what you're going to learn and who the parents are, where you got married, and what you will have and what you won't have, what you will go through, what you won't go through, what you were able to. The whole thing, the whole works all the way to the end. And he asks you, do you agree or don't you agree? But we're there, when you see the truth, and you see what it's going to bring us. Huh? Well, we'll get. Well, let's finish off. And you know what the Balshan, you know what the Guan says. It's all Balkocha Chatu Chai, Balkocha Chatu Noitze, Balkocha Chatu Chai, Balkocha Chatu Mes, Balkocha Chatu Chai, Balkocha Chatu Mes, Balkocha Chatu Usvitne V'cheshmi. 1 second. If it's the Balkocha, why do I have to give them a cheshbon? Because it was Balkocha Chatu Mes. You didn't want to leave. You were pretty happy here. But anyways, the Ari says, at the end of the day, he's asked, do you agree? And there he's in Shemayim, and he sees the truth. It'll be also Muhammad Chsifa. He'll be able to come to such a places that is beyond the Maluchim, Ke'esi Yuma, Liyankiv, Mapu, El-Kel, and Neshuma, can get to places beyond and beyond, so he accepts it. Mashbiyan Oisoi, Harei Tzadik, V'alte Rusha. What does that mean? It says Tzadik and Rusha differentiates it in one thing. Tzadik is somebody that sees all the time the Ribbono, that is Tzadik. Rusha is somebody that is disconnected. He's not connected. He doesn't feel himself connected to anything. That means Mashbiyan Oisa. If you want to go through this shlichus and know that you're, say there's Shlomo Kliger once came into the Kiva Eger and he was talking and learning, and Kiva Eger saw that he's very Naroshi says, I have a chasana that I want to. Oh, Kiva Eger says, I also was invited to the chasana. Since I see I won't make it, do me a favor, if you be a shliach for me. I just reminded, I promised someone to tell him to come to the shiur. So after the shiur, take the number, so next time you'll call him, okay?
You can call him?
Yeah, if you can. He'll be happy. I forgot to call him. I want to unpack up. Just 1 second. I'll show the numbers. Here the numbers here. That's his family name. That's his number. Wolf Lamed, you see it there?
Yeah.
He speaks English. He's a doctor. So the Shlomo Kliger, right, and Kiva Eiger, and Kiva Eiger told him, I had to go to this chasana, do me a favor, be a shliach for me. So Shlomo Kliger goes to the chasana, and he comes to the chasana, starts dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing, and doesn't stop dancing. And usually a chasana, you come in a few minutes, you go further, you have not what to do. So they asked him, what happened tonight that you're dancing so much? So he says, shlichah shel odom kemoisoi. Now I'm a shlich of the Kiva Eiger, so I don't want to lose that. I am the Kiva Eiger, right? So I don't want to lose that. We have to know that we're here in this world, shlich shel odom kemoisoi, not a shlich shel odom, but a shlich of the Ribbono Shel Olam himself. That means I have to know, just like an ambassador. Yeah, it's okay. Just like an ambassador. We have to know, we were saying that if Shlomo Kliger went to a chasana and the Kiva was a shliach, and he started dancing and dancing and dancing, didn't stop dancing. So they asked him, what happened? That the shliach shel odom kemoisoi, jetzt bin ich doch Kiva Eiger allein, it's chaval for me to stop. So we're saying that we come down here in this world with shlichoi, where kemoisoi, a person has to believe that, as we said before, he has a father here. He has someone backing him up. Just like any country sends out an ambassador. So usually send out an ambassador, they give him a shelter, they give him food, they give him a house, they give him chinuch, they're in for him all the way through. And sometimes they put him into places that he wouldn't want to be there, but he knows he's in there. It says that all the servants of the kings are happy when they know what they're doing is for the king, even the ones that are, cleaning the toilets, they're also very happy. It'll go into his mind of the king that he did it. That means we're all in here a certain kind of shlich. So even I'm in that traffic, even though my comfort doesn't go together with his comfort, but since I know that this is a certain type of place that he wants me in that, and that's what connects me to him, so the connection with him gives me the greatest koyach to keep on going, than if I would go myself, because I myself am bounded. That's what the Pusik says. Lo atem machartem. If he would say Elekim macharoti, then people just, instead of getting mad at the shifte core, you get mad at the Ribbono Shel Olam. Why did you do that to me? Why did you messing up my life? Zish pshat lo atem machartem v'lekim machartem. Lemichyu shlochani. Lekim sent me. He wants me to be his messenger here. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I am connected to him. I have to, even though I don't understand what it is that's called tohu vavo. It's not because there is no understanding. There is an understanding, but always the servants have no idea what the king wants, what his master wants. But he has a tonic of doing it because I know that I'm part of it. He gives me that koiches and he goes me through it. That means instead of them giving him therapy, he started giving them therapy. That's the whole koich of Yosef, with the Badichu says, "Vahi Hashem es Yosef." If it was Babeis Hasoyer, it was Babeis Hamitzi, wherever he was going, it was always connecting. And we find by Yosef all the way back and forth. We find I think it's 18 times. We find the word by Yosef Punov. Nivhali mi Ponov. Every time we're talking about Ponov, you don't find anyone else using this word Ponov. Why? Because Yosef was living with the pnimius of everything connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam without disconnecting a second. Because if he would disconnect a second, he's all messed up. He had enough abuses that if he starts thinking his adding up his where he is in the world, he would get lost. But since he was mevatel himself. Piyutz has a lushan, if you bring down Parshas Kedoshim. It's to the best family. It's okay, it's still working. Still, it's okay. And as we said, it must be Sibbis too. I mean, if we talk about it, practice what you preach on somewhere. I learned sometimes English. It's a very strong, when I was sitting in the early days, we were learning Chabirs, and we came to this part. I had a friend which is called Shiur Margaret. I think I mentioned in the past that he passed away in an accident. Shvat, Dalit Shvat. He was one of the closest to the Busha, and he was one that gave me the clarity in the avodah from Busha, as much clarity as I have. We were sitting by a shir in Parshas Kadosh, and we came to this shtikli bang on the foot of the Xayim. This is a Busha. Klula de Milse. Lio is ba'atzmai kemi she'einoi. You should be yourself, Kadeshi Adam Ria Letoya Chochom, Tzurach Lies Ba'atzmai Kemi She'enoi. What does it mean, Kemi She'enoi? Befkeres Gomo Gufoi Ve'nafsho. Efkeres doesn't mean Efkeres do Efkeres. Efkeres means just let go. Let go of your guf, let go of your nefesh. Zay mafkud all your messias, lihimochois al kedishas shmo yizboach, mi oilam hazeh im mi oilam habu. We find the Baal Shem Tov HaKudosh heard a cruise that he's losing oilam habi, became happy. Till now I still was doing for certain kind of lekabel pras. Now I know all I'm doing is not for myself, anything, all for Rבינו Shloim. Be'eze oifen shehi, ibechol mukim shehi. Zot vetzarich kol kach likunes ba'oimik iyach ha'chochma lekis, ad eine mishtoikik ipoine l'shum tzad. He's not looking to no other side. Kim elov yizbuch shmo. All he wants is to find the Rבינו Shloim. Migoidel iyinoi, he has been so strongly, intensively looking into godless haboyis buch shemoy that Yoina says, "Mi beten she'oil." I was so far down, but I know there is no such thing far down. Wherever I am, you are there too. Is shivati eilechu afilim migehenim is she'oil pono el Elokim. Made no difference. Ma loy la'atzmai eich u'mahu ibe'eze oifenim. Loy hoyu nive, oim hoyu nive, o yoyvid kap behemes nidni, shikvar nizbatel la'atzme legame mepnei histaklusoi begadles haboy yizbuch shemoy, v'chol cheftzeit shikusoi rak shi yizgadel, v'yizkadesh shmoy yizbuch v'yizgadel lekisa. That is actually the peak. That is actually the peak to where a person has to strive to come for. That actually, what Yosef Tzaddik is called Tzaddik, he came to that level that he was able not only he needed treatment, but he was able to give treatment to others. As we said before, Abusha was able to take out people from hospitals, from places. Once you connect them back, they started striving, they started living, they among them zu Utemen. Zogt Rashi, לפי שנפטר ינקב וביני ניסתמי עיניהם ולibam של צורס השיבט. You know, the people come home and the supper is not ready, and it's ניסתמי עיניהם ולibam צורס השיבט. If he comes home and something's not in place, ניסתמי עיניהם ולibam צורס השיבט. That means as long as Yankov is out there, the midas emes is out there, then the heart is open, the mind is open, and he knows what he's here for. But לפי שנפטר Yankov ניסתמי עיניהם ולibam. Zog des Fasemis. Bikish Yankov legalis is aketz. Yankov Vini wanted to give us such a behills, such a clarity, that you shouldn't miss that point. You should always be able to live with that emes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you. Once he would give us that pintel of an emes, there would have not been any golus. Why? Even physically, we went from Spain to Europe and to America and to wherever we go, but mentally, as we said the preludes, that someone went up on Ha'azaysim with a shofar and said he's Mashiach with a palace, and they came to the preludes. Someone said that he's Mashiach, so the preludes went to the window, snuffed, and he said, I don't feel that Mashiach is out there. So the reason when I used to say the story, why did he go to the window? Why didn't he sit by his table? Because in his house was already Mashiach. He just wanted to know if Mashiach is outside. That means in Mola Urtz Deus Hashem. That means we have to. Everyone can get there. That's actually what Yankee wanted to indulge into us and give us into this direction of the gallows. We should be megale the kates. What does kates mean? That every matzav that there is not there forever. The only one that is here forever is the Rבינו. That means even if you're in a traffic, even wherever you are, that is not the kates. There is something beyond that kates. There is something beyond which that is called the emet. But the Rביnu's roots was that we live now in a day, not of emes, but we live in a day of emuna. Emes ve'emuna sha'atu Hashem Elokeinu. We have sometimes, we have a behiras, we're sitting now by the shiur, so thank you for listening to me, so I get to that emes sometimes too, but most of the day we're in emuna. That means that otherwise there wouldn't have been any gulas. That means the Sashem says, that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us deliberately, He didn't let he couldn't relay us this message. We should have that behiras with such a clarity, with such a clear that we shouldn't be in gulas. But as the Ramban says, from time to time you always see the fingerprints of the Rבינו. From time to time you see something, some certain names. The Ramban says in Parshas Vaychi, Ein keil chufis b'tachtonim yoydele, that comes to learn to Yutzim and Aklal, Lamed al Aklal, Kula Yutz. It comes to teach us for the whole Mahalach. As a person can be in Gulis and he's not in Gulis. That is the pusik that we started saying. Doi doi, ben doi doi. Where's the father disappeared? Because if he would live as a father, he would have never come to this matzah that he's into. The only way a person loses whatever he has is called addiction. A person gets all lost, that he sees no father, that then he goes down to certain places that he was not supposed to be there. But a person that lives that he's a son of a father and the father is with him all along, the Motla Slanim used to say, I think the original used to say, the greste bishe is al ben melech vergesst as al ben melech. The biggest shame is that a son of a king forgets that the king is his father. That is the avoida actually from shoivim. Shoivim means to come back to that place. We'll end with a short word from the Sasemis. Says by Chanukah we say Hallel. The Gemara asks, why don't we say Hallel and Purim? So you say Kata Avda Cheshverosh Hanan. Look, the Sasemis we say that, but we're still also in a Kata Avda Yuvan now, Kata Avda Edoim. The oils from Chanukah gave us such a clearness of all our gunas that we can be Avda Yuvan, we can be Avda Edoim, but we can still live that we're out of Edom. We're out of, even we're not out physically, we're out of there mentally. It's a matter Kodesh Baruch Hu should help. We should be able to go this week is Vayizchazek Yisrael Rishamita. This is the whole aim for Chizuk. We started saying everyone has to find his Chizuk. You can find Chizuk within yourself. You can find Chizuk within the Kehillah, with Chavayim. As we said before, if we needed the meds, they call it, which we have to use the meds too. That means everyone has to find his chizik in his way, but it's not worthwhile to let myself down, because when I let myself down, I go into disconnection, and then as the Kalini used to say, Simcha nish ka mitzvah, but whatever Simcha brings you, no mitzvah can bring you there. And Atzvus and nish kan aver, but whatever Atzvus brings you, no aver can bring you there. That's what Yosef Sadik said. Va'atu alta otzi. Just don't get into there. Once you get into there, I don't know where it's going to take you. That's the whole tachlis from a chused. The chused is always happy. And Baruch Hu should help you. You should be happy and make others happy. And I asked Mechil if I said things we weren't supposed to say. Any questions?
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
You ever said that a person has to have some ratzon, and if not, so it becomes codependent. So what do you do when you have...
Has a whole schmooze. Which ratzon is mine and which ratzon is the bonusler? We're not going to go into that. Ein yoidim eizem imena eizem rabonishlam. The Yidakuri says, "Ritzoyin avadecha las es ritzonecha." I feel it is mehr ritzoyin is. I'll hold my rotzen, but he has to start with the rotzen. Sorry for bothering you.
No, Mechlalat.
Interrupting, yeah.
Mechlalat. So I'm very sensitive to it because I'm trying to help people. And sometimes what I have to do when I see that the person doesn't have any ratzon whatsoever, so I try to push him, but I don't. As soon as I see it's become totally, so I back off and laugh. But how do you get a person to have that first ratzon?
So what I do is I treat what rutzen. We have to know rutzen is part of a person. You don't have to import it. As I said before, the Shasama says, even that rutzen that he gives is also from the Ribbono Shel Olam. So ain't there eizem imena ve'eizem Ribbono Shel Olam. What does that mean? There's a word that says nefesh. Nefesh has two meanings. Nefesh has a meaning of rutzen, and yesh is nafshechu. And nefesh also means shavas ve'nefesh, tranquility. These two things kalesh. Because I want, and I'm not tranquil. If I'm tranquil, just I have to get all my ritzonos out of my way. So how do we get these two nefesh together? So when a person fulfills his ritzonos, so then he comes to a certain tranquility. Where what's not giving him to get his nefesh out is the kishlonis. That means I'm a failure. That means you don't understand me, you'll never understand me, and if you say you understand me, now I know you don't understand me, and that means it's always that failure somewhere along the line. The Bush said, so the question is, how do you get this thing moving? So we have to show him that he's not a failure. I call it SPS. Socializing, productivity, and spirituality. The nefesh is built up of three legs that you must do. You must have socializing. I must have friends. When I have friends, I start having that listen to talk, to convert, to show off or whatever it is. Productivity. A person must feel I'm worthwhile. I'm needed for something. That's what the Bush has set up. Also socializing. Also productivity, small works, atfus, for women, weaving, whatever, something, chesed, getting food for people, whatever it is. I once read an article in Hamadi in English. There's an organization in New York, somebody goes around bringing food for homeless people. If you go over in New York, you can see it in old Manhattan, they have boxes and this and alleys, and they're sitting there with carts from this, and they have every shmatis in there. So this Yid took upon himself, he takes together food every week. Thursday night he goes out and brings them quilts, blankets, foods, cans, and everything. But he says one thing, he chaps his spiders. After he brings them whatever they need for a week time, this homeless person schleps out from his bag there a calendar from 10 years ago. He doesn't want any presents. He has a dignity. He wants to give. You gave me something, I want to give you too. That means there is that dignity in there, but we have to appreciate that dignity. Not up to, as I said before, the Bush said, you should push open the boundaries and let him build up that dignity. Number three, I call it spirituality. Spirituality is some level of spirituality. Then the nefesh starts working on a healthy basis. So always the question is, should you feel good? You must know about it, or doing good. Most people wait, they should feel good, and then they start doing good. But as we all know, the less they feel good, the less they do good, and they just get on to bed. That means we have to get him going one of these three directions. All the three is the best. Either socializing or productivity. I give him something to do, and I come back and he sees that he did it. Or because I'm his mentor. Let's put it that way. We had a schmooze with Shmulik about it. A mentor means actually accepting him without conditions. We're today in a society. If you only get under 65, you're a lost case. But a mentor is actually accepting even with 10% or 2% with nothing. Then he builds it himself up and he gets back in there. So I have to give him one of those three things. I'm just finish with a story of this Yeshua Margalit. There was a young man, as most of you are talking about this too, that Busha gave him a tafkid to get him out of bed. The man was in bed for months, everything, food. You should know what that means. And the Busha told him, get him out of bed. So the Yeshua Margalit told me he used to go up there every day, and how are you, how was your night, and how was your day, and what are you planning? The first days he just he didn't even answer. He saw the acceptance that he's giving him. He started talking to him, and he started schmoozing, and toilets, and this. And the biggest simcha was when he sat up in the bed already and was able to drink something. When he went to the kitchen to drink a coffee, he was working like this for months and months and months without rushing anywhere, just giving him the acceptance unconditionally. Once he felt that he's already accomplishing, so he decided, tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm coming, and I'll be ready by the door with the talis and tefillin and his hat and his rekel and the gate and Shiur. And Yeshua comes there 10 minutes before 7, and the man is by the door with the talis, with his hat on. It's months he hasn't moved the door, and he's going to the door, and by the door, bloops, he collapses on the floor, and a relapse back into bed, back to day one. Yeshua was devastated, the whole work is down the drain. He couldn't take it, he went to Busha. And Busha told him, was meinst du, what do you think? The Sitrachet mal so schnell rauslassen? You think the clip for the Sitrachet, however you say that in English, I don't know. The Sultan will let this person out of his hand. He had a person in here, and they let him out of there. That means I have to know, I have to live this fight that this person is fighting with. So the more I connect him, I can start again. But if I'm busy, if I can or cannot, or I did or didn't do, and then he's also, I get him all even more messed up. Sure. Because he's the one that messed me up. Oh, they feel it very much. Yeah.
What's Peshat? Yaakov couldn't even get out of the cage. If this is the whole unit of the cage, was just.
Because Baruch didn't want, because the Kodesh wants us to go through a matzav of emunah, not a matzav of emes. That is the whole goal. That means a boin shlim b'noiche haste aster pina. The puna. Well, Shenta Kudish says sometimes you come and children are hiding, and you know that he's hiding. But sometimes he's hiding so good that you don't even feel that he's hiding. He wants to hide in such a way that we don't know that he's hiding. But if you believe that he's hiding, he's hiding. The famous story of the Buch HaMezhir, he was hiding and he came into Rosh Hashanah and started crying. Hashanah says, what are you crying? I'm hiding. So there's one gives is Rosh Hashanah told him, you have to be happy. You hide yourself so good that they just left and they didn't look for you anymore. Rosh Hashanah started crying. The Baruch is also hiding and waiting. We should look for him, and we're not looking for him. Shkorach. Anyone else?
People in the asylum, what's it called?
Herzog.
That they had a comment with Shiurim, and since they didn't have to have problems, it was better.
I said one of the problems is people that is called borderline. They have no day and night how to go about with people, and in a normal society. I always say if a kalina chusset comes into Rizhna Shtibel, they'll take him and throw him out, right? So that's why you have a kalina Shtibel that you can scream there, right? So that means somewhere we we open the borders, the gvulot, and then it becomes a normal. What the Rebusha did with us, he opened all the normals. So if I can come from Bnei Brak, I was 3 months, my father was in the hospital. Here in Hadassah, I was in Bnei Brak. I used to come every day to Rebusha to davening, but sometimes I missed the davening, sometimes the davening was 2 o'clock, and sometimes later years that was in the middle of the night, but we never missed out. That means always a person found himself there, and always the person had a yeshiva was of 3 levels. Was one level is one that don't know how to learn, but they had a yeshiva. So the yeshiva was in the morning they started cleaning and whatever it was. Then there were people such half a day were learning, the other half a day they were out there doing chesed. And the other ones are learning all day, but Thursday everybody had to go out for chesed. There was no sitting there. That means we have to give it up. That means you always, but these days, I'm sorry to say, but you go into yeshiva, either you'll make it or they take care of you for whole life.
You can't wear a hat like the Chaim.
Yeah, no.
You can't do it. Even though the Chaim.
Anyone else?
No? Maybe I need somewhere to get down.
No, it's okay. It's yeah.
I just want to thank you, Rabbi, for the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I wasn't sure he's going to give it over. I thought he was going to. I don't know if I would stand that in the sign.
It was verkehrt. The sign was verkehrt.
I have a few words about that, but it's a little.
I gave way also.
It's dark. Yeah.